This is where it all begins.
My best hunting day ever. This is Deer and Deer Hunting TV. Spot and stalk hunting. You know, it can be a lot of fun. It's a lot different than this. And this is probably what you're used to. I know I am. Post hunting, if you're tree stand hunting or hunting off the ground at home, normally short shots, a lot of sitting, a lot of waiting. Spot and stalk hunting, completely different. It takes a different mindset and it takes a different approach.
Spot and stalk hunts can be physically and mentally challenging. Now the physical part, that's easy to prepare for. You just need to get in shape.
What I found that works best for me is running, hiking, walking, putting in a lot of miles, getting a lot of cardio well before the season starts.
You need to throw on your backpack and do some climbing, especially if you know you're going to be hunting in some rough country.
It's really rough on your ankles and your feet and your knees, especially when you get older like me. It can really do a number on your body. So what you want to do is not just put in those miles will help. You get your cardio up, but you also want to practice that uneven terrain.
Just remember, this is spot and stalk hunting. It's not spot and sprint hunting. It's kind of like the old bull elk and the young bull elk. The young bull says, hey, let's run down the mountain and dance with one of those ladies. The old bull, he says, hey, let's walk down the mountain and dance with all the ladies. You need to pace yourself.
The second thing you have to prepare is glassing and how you see things. When you're in the woods and you're looking for deer, you're trying to pick out a tail or a twitch or an ear. On a spot and stalk hunt, it's way different. You have to train your eyes to not only look long distances, but to pick out the nuances on the landscape. And the third thing about spot and stalk hunting is the actual shot process. Much different. I'm not shooting 20 yards with my Matthews. I might be shooting 300, 400, 500 yards at a deer with my rifle. I have to practice with my weapon of choice. Practice shooting positions, practice awkward shooting positions, and practice long-range shots if you're going to expect to take that long-range shot. It's critical to practice at the same ranges that you will be hunting in.
When it comes to closing the ground, when you're hunting in open territory, the key word here is patience. You just need to take a leap of faith that they're going to stay put where they're at, because you might have to take a long circle. You might have to circle and get up high, and it might take you an hour to reposition.
Calculate how am I going to get to him, and then figure out what time that's going to require. It might take until that deer beds down before you can make a move. It might be until he gets up until you can make a move.
So you need to pick out landmarks so that when you change position, you can still relocate those deer.
I have to be patient because I don't know what might be in front of him. A lot of eyes and ears are probably in front of him.
So you're going to have all those eyes scanning the landscape, looking for you, looking for predators. So you need to move carefully, you need to move slowly. Just remember, you blow your stock, you're starting all over again.
Deer and Deer Hunting is brought to you by Scent Killer Gold with Hunt Dry Technology Plus. Apply it, try it, and go hunt. Remington, America's oldest gunmaker. Get armed and deadly with Easton FNJ arrows. And by 10-Point Crossbow Technologies. There is no substitute.
Alberta, Canada, the Great White North, eh? Coming up here to me feels really natural. And I was up here actually with Willow Creek Outfitters 10 years ago and hunted with Kelly Wiebe then. So this was kind of a reunion of sorts.
So Gordy Cron and I go back a little bit. 10 years ago we hunted together and we're successful on a mule deer hunt, and yeah, it was a bit of a reunion.
This time I had 2 tags, a tag for whitetail and a tag for a mule deer. Now this country is magnificent, and it's no wonder why you can find both species in abundance here. I mean, it's just perfect terrain for mule deer and perfect terrain for whitetails. It just screams deer at you, and I'm here to answer that call.
You know, when you're coming around mid-November for a combination hunt, or either a mule deer or whitetail hunt, you just never know what kind of weather we're going to have. Here we're experienced, obviously a little bit of warm weather as well as some snow and cooler weather. So a person definitely has to bring a good layered system. Both bring a natural colored exterior layer as well as maybe a set of whites or some of that. You just never know what we're going to have this time of year.
We decided right off the bat that we were going to start out with mule deer. And there are a lot of mule deer on this ranch where we were hunting. And it's open terrain, it's hilly terrain. This is a hunt where you got to get out and work for your deer.
We do a little bit of truck stuff first. We look at the country over, see where the does are, and then we locate some deer that we want to go after. So we park and shoulder the packs and do that arduous hike like we like to do here.
It's not really rugged terrain in the sense that this is not an elk hunt, but you're going to be putting on miles, lots of miles, and you're going to do a lot of walking with your optics. Optics are so important out here.
So once we located the shooter buck that we liked, the wind was just quite wrong for us for the stalk, so we had to make a big circle around them, and we got in on them decently tight.
There's one that we think is a pretty decent buck, so we're just gonna try to creep up over the top of this next hill, see if we can't get a position.
But we actually bumped him. We bumped a moose that went out of the bluff actually, and kind of took the deer with them. And then we actually relocated them again later afternoon, and we got in on them, and they were feeding towards us and coming towards us, but we were at about 185 from the doe, 200 yards from the buck, but just in a bad spot that we couldn't quite get it done.
Now when we left that buck that night, it seemed to me that he was just making a big circle and he was going to end up back in that bowl, that nice little hidey hole where we first spotted him. Well, we came close last night. I mean, we left that buck in a good place if we can relocate him, but one thing that really encouraged me was we're seeing a lot of rutting activity. So the key is really, and it was yesterday, just keep an eye on the ladies because that's where the guys are going to be.
Most definitely.
So we snuck in there, we got up the fence line, got hidden, and we started glassing. And I don't think we were there maybe a half an hour when Kelly says, I think we found our boy. And sure enough, he was there. There was several does, some smaller bucks, but he was there. And we just had to figure out a way to get to him.
And we had to again drop way out and get the wind right. And it took us about an hour and a half to kind of get in fairly tight. We got into a couple hundred yards, and we had to scooch in like we did 10 years ago. We did the butt scooch there, and yeah, we set up on them, and it was perfect.
It seems like we're always crawling, always trying to gain those few yards.
Just go 1 yard at a time, because everything I see right now is bedded, so they're not going anywhere. They're just kind of tucked out of the wind here. They are.
We had a pretty good idea of where he was bedded, but we could not find him. And I look over, and there he is. There's a doe shooting out from the bottom, and this big boy is right on her tail. But just like they often do, both deer just turned and they looked back. And that was my opportunity. I had a perfect angle at him. I had a stationary target, and I took the shot. And man, I just heard that bullet smack home. And that was just the best feeling ever. And then he just tipped over and went sliding down the hill. Like Kelly said, he's sliding in for home base, and we had ourselves our Alberta mule deer. Oh man! Nice job. Man, did you hear that bullet hit?
Oh, it just sounded like a
smack.
whack, yeah.
This is just what I dream about when I dream about Alberta bucks. Tall, dark, and handsome. I mean, that's what this guy is.
And a big, mature buck. I mean, he's got some age on him.
Yeah, so here it is 10 years later, and we did it again.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more happy, man.
Hey, congrats.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate hunting with you.
Yeah.
This segment of Deer and Deer Hunting is brought to you by Matthews.
We just came off of 2 days of some of the best mule deer hunting I've ever had in my life. Oh God, he's beautiful. We knew he was kind of a compact rack, you know. He's not really wide, but he's got good mass and he's just perfectly symmetrical. We shot this great buck after 2 days. The good news is Alberta is also a great destination for whitetails. Now they use the terrain a little bit differently and you have to hunt different areas, but you can get into some really good whitetail hunting here.
It's truly changing gears big time, if you will. I mean, you get a vantage point, you're not hiking around, you're letting them move and then planning a spot and stalk after that.
They're occupying these brushy little draws. You got to find a good vantage point and you've just got to sit them out. In fact, the first day we spotted a pretty good buck, one that we thought we'd probably take. We wanted to get a better look at him. We saw him go bed down in a thicket. We got up on a high vantage point. We decided we were just going to wait him out.
But we camped on that deer all day, like 8+ hours.
It was getting toward dark. The does were getting up and they were moving around, and we thought, okay, it's just a matter of time and he's going to come out. Well, we waited to dark and he did never show up. So we just invested 8 hours of prime hunting time on this one buck and we never did see him again. Now, when we watched the Weather Channel that night, it gave us a sense of urgency. There was some wind coming in, there was some snow coming in. We really wanted to get this done in the next day if we could.
We knew we were going to head back to that same spot where we located that deer in the morning, and right off the hop we seen, 15 does or so, a few smaller bucks pushing around, and it was just a really good feel for the day.
We got up high and we started glassing, and we saw a lot of deer movement. We just glassed for a while, we'd move to another location, we'd glass for a while, and we'd move again. And we got up against this nice little stand of aspen and we could see for miles. And there were all these really nice coulees and brushy draws. And we thought, all we need to do is catch a buck on his feet in between, going from one draw to the next. And that was going to be our opportunity. So now we got these two deer coming straight at us, and Kelly is calling off the yardage. How far?
250.
And they're getting closer and closer, but I wasn't really comfortable with taking the shot because this buck was coming straight at me, and I just thought at some point he's going to turn and give me a better shot angle. Oh, I did not like that angle.
Oh, his head's still up there.
I got no shot at the body. We need to get up there, get another one in him. I wasn't exactly sure where the hit was, but I knew I needed to get another round in him. I mean, here it was the fourth day of a 5-day hunt, and I've got two great Alberta deer on the ground. That was so beautiful just to watch him come across this field. Wow, look at that. Oh my God. Oh, man. He is a nice looking buck. Look at that.
Split eye.
Oh man. Yeah, he's got this little character there. And just to watch the behavior, you know, we know the rut's kicking in, and there he is, right on the tail of that doe. But what about the timing? I mean, we snuck in here, what were we there, maybe 15 minutes?
Maybe 15.
So we got a really nice muley 2 days ago, and now we finished off our Canadian twofer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure hunting with you.
Definitely, Gord.
Thanks, man.
Deer and Deer Hunting is brought to you by Thompson Center, America's master gunmakers. Sever broadheads, straight through it. Hunter Safety System, stay connected. And by Cuddyback, CuddyLink, 16 cameras, 1 cell plan, $10 per month.
There are going to be times when you need to get your rifle sighted in and get it sighted in quickly. Maybe you bought a new rifle like this Remington Model 7, you bought a new scope, you need to get it dialed in for an upcoming hunt. So what I'm going to do today is show you an old school method of bore sighting your rifle to get back on the paper quickly and then dial that rifle in. Okay, once you make sure that your scope is all in order, everything is tightened down, you need to get your rifle in a very solid rest. Now, if I'm at home and I'm able to do this at the range, I'm going to use my lead sled, and I'm even going to use some bungee cords to get that rifle really solid in the rest. Now, if I'm at camp, I'm probably not going to have the lead sled. I'm going to use a backpack, jackets, sandbags, anything I can to get that rifle well supported. Okay, once I've got that done, what I'm going to do is pull the bolt. Okay, now obviously when your rifle is sighted in, the bore is in perfect alignment with your crosshairs. So that's what we need to do. We need to get the bore of the rifle in line with the crosshairs of your reticle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look through the rifle bore, look through the barrel, and I'm going to try to get it perfectly aligned with the bullseye on the target down there. Now I'm going to have to make some up and down adjustments and some side to side adjustments until when I look through the bore, I've got that bullseye directly in the middle of the bore. Okay, what I want to do now is I want to make sure that the scope is also aligned with those crosshairs. And as I can see right now, it's off the paper, and that's usually the case. And you got to get it back on the paper. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dial the reticles until the crosshairs are perfectly aligned with the bullseye down there. If I've done this properly now, I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to pull a bullet onto the paper, and then we can do our fine tuning from there. Okay, we're on the paper. That's the good news. The bad news, and it's really not that bad, is that the bullet impacted down here. The good news is we're on the paper, so we'll be able to make some quick adjustments from there. Now what I want to do, I'm usually dialed in. We're shooting 100 yards. I want it to be shooting 2 inches high, obviously right above the bullseye. Our next step is to move this up to here, obviously. And how I'm going to do this is I'm going to walk this up. Now I could just start counting clicks, but I'm going to burn up a lot of ammo doing it that way. There's a better way to do it. I'm going to make adjustments and pull this down to where the bullet actually impacts. So I'll bring it down and to the right. Okay, we'll go ahead and take another shot. That bullet impacted right about here. So from here, it's just a matter of doing the clicks. At 100 yards, I'm going to give her 4 clicks up, 8 clicks to the left, and that should put me right on. That bullet impacted right here. So basically we're right on. So 3 very easy old school steps to get your rifle back on target if you're off the paper.
Today's Innovation Zone feature is about a new nock that is going to change the game for high-speed crossbow users. Let me tell you all about it. New for 2019, 10-point introduces the new Alpha Nock. This represents an evolution in crossbow nock design. The Alpha Nock features a unique, deep bowstring channel with elongated ears, far deeper than the channel on the previous Omni Nock or even the channel found on Moon and Capture Nock. The deep channel design holds the bowstring in place during the shot, which prevents the string from sliding past the nock and under and overshooting the arrow shaft. It also has a large, smooth radius base that improves the string-to-nock engagement and allows the string to contour around the sides of the nock without pinching or causing premature wear on the string's center serving. Additionally, the unique shape of the alpha nock allows for the string to be caught by the elongated ears and directed into the bowstring channel, even if the nock is loaded without being properly indexed to the cock vane. The greatest advantage of the alpha nock design is that it yields straighter nock travel, which translates up to 28% greater downrange accuracy compared to previous Omni nocks or traditional crossbow nocks. The alpha nock will be offered in regular versions and also lighted versions that are called Alpha Brights later this spring. To learn more about this exciting new nock, go to 10pointcrossbows.com.